Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Disgaea RPG video. Now I'm making this video today because I've had various suggestions from people that basically said I should put something like this together, and I am going to be making a video talking about basically changes to the game and things that new players can expect or returning players might not know about. On this video, if there's anything at all that you think I've forgotten, drop into the comments down below. Give your thoughts, give your feelings about what people should expect from the game, and we will go ahead just now and talk about exactly what new players can expect and what older returning players have got to basically do a little bit differently. So if you haven't already, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and all of that good stuff, okay? Now, what we're going to do straight away is we're going to talk about leveling strategies, okay? Now, if you are a new player, and again, even if you are an older player, this is something that is going to be quite important to you. So, if you're not aware already, the way it works in this game is you have to basically get materials to level your characters, and then you have to get EXP to raise the level of your characters, okay? Now, unlike a lot of games, this game doesn't have any kind of experience elixirs or anything like that, okay? So experience is gained through gameplay. It's gained through doing levels, it's gained through doing things like this EXP gate that you can see at the top here, okay? And to get the materials to do that, you have to do these levels down here. Now, for newer players or for returning players, these can be quite difficult, okay? Now, the best strategy to actually go with at the start, if you are someone who is potentially going to struggle to do one of these levels, okay, what you want to do is you want to choose a strong carry character, okay? Now, basically these characters, for example this one here, 7,900, they can literally carry you through most content in the game, okay? Now, to returning players, you guys will have experienced the cap that we used to have in the past, where these characters' stats were nerfed to bring them down on level with your characters. That is no longer the case, okay? You can start this game today as a rank 1 player. You can have a team of absolute scrubs who are just useless, and you can literally take one character who can basically clear the gates for you on their own, okay? Now, starting out, that might be difficult for you to get 3 stars on these stages. However, even if you only get 0 stars on a stage, or if you get whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as you clear it, you're going to gain a lot of EXP and be able to quickly bring up your characters through the ranks, okay? So one thing that you should try and do as a new player or a returning player is get onto a Discord. You can join my Discord, you can join the public Discord, and try and find at least 1 or 2 high level friends, okay? Because those friends can really take you to that next level and help you clear a lot of content, okay? Now, even though it's a little bit cheap, that carry system can also apply to clearing levels in story and stuff like that, okay? Now, the only problem you're going to face in story if you are a new player is there is some stages in the normal story mode that do not allow you to use friend characters. They force a story character upon you, okay? So while you're going through those dark gates that I showed you a second ago, you should be quite easily bringing up the level of characters that will help you beat these kind of throttling stages, okay, that rely more on what you've done to your squad than just using a friend carry to take you through everything in the game, okay? Now, you know about that, that's fine, that's me told you as a new player or returning player how to basically level quickly, okay? One thing you are going to find, however, is those materials that I spoke to you about, they are going to throttle you fairly quickly, okay? You will find that if you're trying to level a team of characters, you will face issues, basically, okay? These things here, okay? These are your materials that allow you to level. If it's a human character, all of these apply. For monsters, it's the same, except these are red, okay? But you will find very quickly if you're leveling a lot of characters that you will struggle, because just there's not enough of these things to go around. That is why really the second tip is do not level too many characters at the one time, okay? So let's just say, for example, you've come back for the 7-set Deadly Sins collab, and just for talking sake, you pull Meliodas, okay? This is just an example. focus on Meliodas, okay? Focus on him. Build him up to a certain level. Once he's strong enough that he can start dealing a lot of damage and help you clear stages, move on to the next character. So instead of having this frame of mind where you need to level a full team, don't do that. Especially early on, as you will face bottlenecks very, very quickly. So make sure you focus on your carry character, and then from there start to build the rest of your squad and start to level them up, okay? Now this isn't an overnight process. This is something that will take you a little bit of time, but if you use your resources well in this game, you can very quickly get your characters up to a high level, okay? Now that being said, these gates that I've showed you here, even if you are in the process of not having characters that require, for example, these statues, if you have a carry that is strong enough to get you through these stages, okay, try and do as many as you can every day, okay? Because if you can stockpile as many of those materials as possible, it's going to only help you later in the game, okay? Now, one of the things that can kind of fling up in your face and stop you being able to do that is things like AP. Being able to summon, you're going to need quartz. So some good avenues to get that is these things here, which are the story events, okay? You can either find them from these banners down here, or if you actually go to event, it will bring up a pop-up menu that will have all the currently active events, okay? Now right now we have a very easy one that you could do that with characters that are practically not leveled, okay? So we're not going to really look at that for now. But you have story events, okay? Sometimes we have one a month, sometimes we have two a month. This month we are going to have two, okay? Now, these story events have specific characters that do give you bonus points. That might be a bit difficult for you depending on your situation. A returning player, you might have some of these units. As a new player, you might not, and you might just have to go with a more generic squad. But even if you do that, you will gain these points, okay? And with those points, you do have an exchange shop, and you can redeem it to get things like AP pots. If you put enough effort in, you can get yourself a copy of the event unit. Even if it's just one, it's still good to have it in your box, you know. You can get things like crystals. These are all things that are going to help you in the game to reach those higher levels. Now, one thing that you should not be put off by is at the start, you're not going to be able to clear this, okay? You're not going to be able to clear this shop, and you might find that some of the harder stages are a little bit hard for you, but within a couple of weeks tops, you'll be able to easily work at this, okay? Now the problem is going to be if you don't have event units, you're going to have to run the stages quite a lot. So I personally think as soon as possible, start at least trying to redeem the 5 of these every day, okay? They're fairly inexpensive, and you'll be able to build up a little stockpile of AP pots fairly quickly in game, okay? One of the other reasons you want to do story is if you get to the point where you can clear this story, if you do the entire thing, which includes these missions down here, so if you can clear all of these missions, you will probably end up with about 7,000 quartz, and that's just from the event, 7,500 quartz, okay? One of the other ways to get quartz is obviously through completing story missions and story levels. Again, while you're trying to build up your squad, just do as much of this as you can, and you will pick up a decent little stockpiling of quartz in your box, which will allow you to summon, okay? Now, speaking of summoning, this is where it gets a little bit dicey, okay? Now, we have just had Pity announced in-game, and personally, I think that you maybe want to try and get yourself a badass character if you can, because they're going to be a solid carry that will help you for quite a while in game, depending on the unit that you go for. Not only that, their banners have a 2x rate on pulling 4 stars, so even if you happen to go all the way to 30k pity, okay, to get that badass unit, along the way you will pick up a lot more characters that will help you round out your squad. So characters like Laharo, Valvatores, all that kind of stuff. And if you don't manage to pull a badass or one of the other badasses along the way, by the time you hit 30k you will be able to redeem and get yourself the badass unit on that banner, okay? Now 30k might seem like quite a lot, but if you are a new or a fresh player, you have enough content in the game that you can quite easily grind your way up to that. Again, it will take time, The thing is, if you're going to play Disgaea RPG, everything's going to take time, okay? You will get to a point where you can do this content very quickly, but at the start, it's obviously a growing process, and you have to get yourself up to a position where you can really get this, really clear this content on your own. But at the start, because of things like friend carry, you're going to have a lot easier time than someone like me or players who've been playing from the start did, because we couldn't really rely on friend carries, but now you can be hard carried by a friend. So that first tip I gave about adding a strong friend is vitally important if you want to progress probably quicker than you should really progress, okay? Now the next thing I want to talk to you about is going to be the item world, okay? Now, some of you may be aware, some of you won't. Depends on your knowledge of Disgaea itself, okay? But in Disgaea, it does have a unique item world where you can take an item, for example. You could buy this item here, okay? If you then go into this thing, which is called the item world, we'll get to it in a second. I'm spending all my time in the item world these days. If you then jump into the item world, okay, you can grind up these characters by clearing levels, and it will physically make that item stronger, okay? Now, realistically, that's not at the moment why you'll be doing that. You'll be doing it to try and get better gear, okay? Because if you run, for example, this weapon here, which is rank 36, okay, if it drops another weapon, it's going to be another rank 36 weapon, or more likely, fingers crossed, it'll be a rank 37 weapon, okay? Now, obviously, if you're just starting out or just returning, you'll be dealing with weapons at a much lower level, okay? You might be dealing with, like, rank 25, 26, like these more low-ranked weapons, okay? But again, this is how you go through the process of getting yourself stronger gear, okay? So by doing this, I think it's up to level 30, it's guaranteed to drop a rarity higher than what it was, okay? After that, it's a chance, but it's quite a high chance of dropping a rarity that's one higher. But at the start, you're basically looking to go into an item, if you can, clear it to level 10. When you get to level 10, you beat the boss. If you don't see an item drop, which is just a chest, you quit the level, do it again, you repeat that process until you see a chest dropping. When you collect that chest, it'll be a new item of a higher rarity. A higher rarity item means it's a better item, it's stronger, it's got better stats, and it's going to help you more. Now, the one thing that I would say to you now is, until you reach rarity 40, which could take you a while, I wouldn't beat yourself up spending too much time grinding in the item world. Mainly at the start, all you want to do is get yourself a decent weapon for your characters and enough other additional items like shoes, armour, etc. just to give you a little bit of a boost to your stats, okay? Now, other than the changes that I've mentioned there with regards to item world rarity, with regards to the carries and stuff like that, not a lot's changed if you're a returning player, okay? So if you're a returning player, you kind of know all there is to know, and the rest of this is more going to be aimed at new players, okay? One of the other things as a new player that you kind of need to know is there is going to be something you have to look at here. In fact, sorry, I apologise, this does apply to returning players. If you are a returning player, we do have this now as well, which is called the Netherworld Supermarket, or the Prinny Market, depending on what you want to call it. If you sell off your 4-star characters, 3-star characters, you will receive these Prinny coins, okay, these black market Prinny coins, and you can redeem them to get items such as any Prinnies and Prinny hides, okay, which are obviously a valuable commodity in this game. Just be aware, any characters you raise to 3 or 4-star, so if you take them from 1-star to 3-star or 1-star to 4-star, you will not receive any currency for them, okay? And if you take a naturally summoned 3-star character and raise them to 4-star, you will only receive the amount that you would have received if they were still a 3-star, okay? So don't try and manipulate your star rankings to get more points, because it won't work, okay? Now lastly, again, if you are a free-to-play player that's new to the game, just be aware that they have added pity to the game. It's going to go live as of tomorrow. You really should be saving your quartz, because outside of getting yourself a team that can kind of clear story stages, you want to start saving to get bigger targets, okay? Because badass banners are the way to go at the start anyway, and like I say, if you're going to hit pity on those banners, you're going to pick up a lot of 4-star units along the way that will help you round out your roster and your squad, okay? Now, if you are brand new to the game, I do have several other videos talking about NE levels, talking about farming innocence and all that kind of stuff. If you go back on the channel, you can check that out, because none of that information is actually changed, okay? This was more just a refresher for people who are just coming back to the game or joining the game for the first time, with some quick, easy strategies that can really help you grow quite quickly, okay? Now, if you are a regular viewer of the channel, which I know a lot of you watch this video, even though you don't need this information, if I've missed anything out, drop a comment down below, let people know. But realistically, to progress at the moment, the easiest strategy is go in to a Discord, hit up people, ask them to add you as a friend, and you will be carried your way through the game until you can get to a point where you can handle the content on your own. Anyway guys, I've been Hayzink, thanks for joining me on this video. As always, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one, dudes. Stay safe, peace.